Hey friends, it's still Tuesday, but I'm back because I'm vibed up. It's been a nice day in a lot of different ways. Before I play some music, because I want to kind of chime in on the vibe. Again, show some odds and ends, some prog, and some other things I just want to show. But I was contacted by this blog called Eclectablogs last week, asking if I'd like to do a little interview. And I went and checked the blog out and featured, interviews with artists, everyone from Duff McKagan to, I can't even remember, but all people, that and it was like, oh, this is I love it. It's an honor, and it's like, it's another one of those occurrences that reinforces your feeling of being a real recognized, artist, musician, whatever, So I'll put the link down below my video. It's just a short little interview, and it's like nothing that you wouldn't hear me say here, but it's just cool that there I am, and it feels good, and the reference, it appears that the bands that got him to contact me is Sun Ambulance and my work with Kleeman, which is very cool. Anyway, I'm going to do a needle drop on some Wigwam from the album Being. This is on Love, although it's a repress, because the original is a gatefold, but this is some good stuff. Let me just play it for a second. This does have the insert. Yeah, it is. Yeah, the insert. Excellent. Again, right quick, I just bought this today, but I've spun it all the way through. This is brilliant, not for the faint of heart. It's not easy listening, and but is it is it real? Shit, it's been established for generations. The validity of this approach to music. Okay, so I mean, if you don't know about it, I'm being kind, okay? So folks have been showing all kinds of music, which I just love. I love seeing all these unusual, interesting records. And I wanted to add a couple things I hadn't seen so far. I'm going to go a couple different places. On the German side, we didn't jump into Embryo. Now, this is a reissue, but Opal, again, this is stuff that you can pass on, but if you want to know the whole story about Krautrock and what was important in the 70s coming from Germany, I say you must hear Embryo, and this is one of the early albums, if not the first. An original had a balloon, I believe, coming out of it. I also have this one, Embryo's Rosh reissue. Now the only one I have on Brain is Steighaus. Now it's a repress. It's been pressed many times on Brain, but this is on Brain, and this is, I think, in a very subtle way, one of my favorite German albums of that time. Dreaming Girls, it's just there's just the ambience of that song. I love it. Steighaus. I also have Surfin'. Is that right? Yep. Embryo Surfin' on NPS. And this has its moments. It's kind of, clunky. And then the last, I have two more actually. Rock Session. This one is cool. This is on Brain. Nice shot of the band on the inside cover. This is a good one. And I have a more recent album that they did in collaboration with the No Neck Blues Band, of all things. And this is very good. This is on Staub Gold. Yeah, the Staub Gold label. Embryo. So I want to just shout out to Embryo. Now, this is not prog, but it's just such a beautiful cover. And while I was looking at other records, I thought, well, let me just pull this one out. I've grown to like this album. When I bought it because I wanted the cover. And when I got it home, I didn't really care for it much. This is a San Francisco band that goes back to the beginning of the hippie thing with the Charlatans and the Mojo Men, I believe, and the Warlocks, the Grateful Dead, before they were the Grateful Dead. And when you hear this album, isn't that a beautiful cover though? And when you hear the record, you hear that. This one still cracks when you open it. Double LP, this is in a Karma issue. I have to look and see. I know it's a double LP. Is there a booklet with it or anything? Because they give you so many extras sometimes. No, okay, just the albums. But great reissue label at Karma. But this cover is just so beautiful. I know I've listened to it a couple times where it hit the spot. But just in general, usually it doesn't. Okay? Trips a chord. Okay, now let's talk about some prog where I don't know if anyone else has this or if they will talk about it, but Candle. This is an American, I'm pretty sure they're American. It's on the Green Bottle Records label, some small label. The only thing I can tell you is that Andy Narrow plays steel drum and organ on this. And some of you folks know Andy Narrow. He's a jazz musician. Now, the first song is Deceiving. It's kind of country rock. But the second song kicks it off. This is Prog. And it's cool. Again, my least likable thing about this is the vocals, but the changes, the songwriting on this is very interesting. I love music that has unusual key changes and just, you know, and I love it also when the music is like that, but there's no obvious reference to the classics. Now, I don't mind, I like that too, when it's done well, when you use classical themes, etc. But when I love complex music, or just music that's very melodious, that has no past reference. I love that. Always looking for that. So I hear some of that on this, Candle. Just showing the Samla Mamas Mana album that Anders in Stockholm gave me, Snoring Garna Symphony. Yeah. Now the other one I showed is my favorite, but this is cool. I really appreciate getting this from Anders for my collection. And is this Music Natet Boxholm? So that's the label. Very cool. Okay, now to mix it up a little bit, I was just in the German mind, and one of my favorite German electronic artists who has sadly passed away is Konrad Schnitzler, original member of Tangerine Dream, Cluster, and just behind a whole lot of stuff. This is someone you need to check out. Again, he will challenge your listening, but it's well worth it. This is on Sky. This is not easy to find. Con 3. Schnitzler. I also have he put out limited editions of records, red, blue, and I think there's a green one. I only have blue. These have been reissued. There's no graphics anywhere, no information. It's just, but this I've had for ages. This is as an original, not a reissue. Again, this is electronic music that, you know, it's just not meant to be pleasant, but there's a lot to be gained from taking these journeys. Something I bought recently is a collaboration he did. Konrad Schnitzler, Borngraber, and Struver, Construct. And I haven't listened to this in a while, but I remember this being very good. I haven't watched all of Dave's latest videos. You're hooked, David, Prog Jazz Man. I see how you are. I'm the same way, you know. Sometimes it's like you get started and then you just keep going, you know. You vibe up. You showed Tangle Edge, and I have Eulogy. And this album has moments. It has yet to really work its magic. It's on demi-monde. It's the same as what you have. But yeah, I like the general where it's coming from. But this hasn't, I haven't had a real listening experience with this one yet, where it really connects. And when I bought this, I bought it with some other imports and stuff, and it was over $20, but I bought it anyway. Another German electronic artist that I have not heard mentioned, or maybe I missed it, as Musticians, and this is now been made with Terry Burrows. Watching the Burning Bride. I've shown this before. This is this man's music. It is music, but mostly what it is, and if you look him up, he is all about finding out about what the sound has to show him. That's his approach, and you hear it in the way he does it. I love his music because it's very unique. It's, you know, it is. It's wonderful. It's like, you know, I like that approach. I only have 2 of his records on vinyl, and this one is more of a synth rock album approach that he took, Licia. And again, this is on Sky. This is good, but this is more structured, specifically synth rock. Slightly cheesy, but well worth mentioning. I've shown it. I was given a copy of this recently, although I already had it, but this is a different pressing. So I'm digging that. Johann Timman. He was in one of those Italian bands, Neutrals, or not Banco, but yeah, he was in one of those big Italian prog bands. And this is a synthesizer thing called Trip Into the Body. And it's okay. I mean, you know, it's like supposed to be an electronic tour de force. The fact that I use that word tour de force is what kind of is the cheese factor. It's like they're trying to throw in everything but the kitchen sink. There he is with his big Italian self. What up, cat? Johann Timman. And this one I kept because it's got a custom label. My other one does not. My other copy is on Hansa. Is this on Hansa? I think so. Anyway, it's another one to show in the general area of what we've been talking about. Had to show my Yucatalanans because I don't have enough of them. This is just fabulous. This is the American pressing. I've had this since high school. Fantastic. Has one of my favorite songs of all time on it, Mountains, on the B-side. It's just a simple but a beautiful song. Beautiful. Yucca. Fine guitarist. You betcha, Jonas. Passenger in Paramaribo is fantastic. This is a smoking album. This is the kind of record that, you know, everyone from Big Star 1000 to Sequoia Flame to Chris 4127 Basket. And I know my brother JC68, because this has the flavor. This is neat. This is very good. Jamming, smoking shit. And another one I really like by him is High Flyin' on Sonnet. Beautiful cover too. I love this cover. Excellent guitar player. Cross Section too. This is another American release of his. This is the second album of his that I bought on the Janus label. And this has a lot of good tracks on it too. Excellent player. Still with the proggy thing as well as the funk thing, you know, going on here. More of a jazz-based band than a rock band, but one that definitely needs to be mentioned. Here is The Fourth Way, Werewolf. This is with Mike Knock and Michael White, Ron McClure on bass, Eddie Marshall on drums. This is not the type of thing that's going to knock your socks off. On Harvest, it's something you need to hear. It's a unique voice in early jazz rock. This is like in the same area as the first Weather Report album, which I think is excellent. This is not quite as good, but I think the cover shows you. You probably ought to seek this out and hear this. Werewolf by The Fourth Way. A Finnish band that I unfortunately sold the other album. God, what was I thinking? But Finforest, this band is fantastic. Jazz rock, instrumental, Mahavishnu flavored, but definitely has that Scandinavian thing going on the Love label. Love this label. This is one of my favorite albums. Favorite. Seriously. This is fan-freaking-tastic. I'll pop it out. Show the label because yes, the label, the Love label is a label to try to find and collect. That logo is boss. I mean, you know, I was talking about it in my other video where it's natural. We're part of the ecosystem. To reproduce is part of our nature. Nothing wrong with that. You know what I'm saying? My complaints about pop music stand, though. I mean, I love it as much as I complain about it. I just hope some of y'all can understand it. Good to hear from you, Jimmy Earl of Swap. Thankfully, Jimmy understands me. You know, it's like you got to listen to what I'm saying because I'm not hating on anything. I'm trying to describe an experience that seems to be unique amongst most people. You know, that mine. You know, my response to a lot of music. That's why I do it. Okay, a couple more records. Not very prog, very German, trying to be American sounding. Some really good music came out of it though. Kin Ping Meh, number 2, on the fabulous Zebra label. A couple folks showed some Achim Reichel records recently, I believe, that are on Zebra. Very collectible label. If you find this, you know, yeah, look this up and see how much it goes for. Now this is one of those things where it's like I keep it more for its collectability than this really being what I like. It's more hard rock, but it's like I gotta keep this. An original inner sleeve, original Zebra inner sleeve. The record's in mint condition, and it's pretty good. But it's got kind of that everyman sound that just I've heard so much of it. I'm at the point now where it's just I got to really it'll hit me at the right time to actually listen to it. A lot of times what I'll do is, because I'm always wanting to hear something different, is bands that I've never heard of, artists I've never heard of, who are playing that regular type of commercial sound. I'll give them a listen just so I can say I heard them, you know. But I know what I'm looking for, and I hear it right away. And that sameness, you know, it hits me like a ton of bricks. And unless it's really good songwriting, usually it's like, next. Last thing I'll show, and that's not a diss. That's not a diss. It's my experience. Last thing I'll show is a French band I don't think I've seen mentioned. Carpe Diem. Carpe Diem. Is that how you say it? Suis le jeu. Suis le jeu. This is on Crypto. I should have grabbed my Wapasu. It's right over there. I got Wapasu on Crypto. The label Crypto made me think of that. Kind of like Mona Lisa, which I don't have on vinyl anymore. I'm at 20 minutes. I gotta stop. I just wanted to vibe up and show some records, folks. If you're just seeing this video and you didn't see my other 2 videos from today, I encourage you to see them both. I give you my first impressions of Scott Walker, and then this morning I shared some thoughts about watching some video last night. And I'm always trying to share, give out some food for thought, if nothing else. Okay? Be well, everyone.